So Dynasty Warriors Origins is a single-player tactical hack-and-slash game that pits the player against hordes and hordes of enemies in a desperate battle for control. But with the change in direction with a heavy focus on single-player gameplay, does Dynasty Warriors Origins meet the expectations of longtime fans of the series, or does it fall flat? What's up guys, my name is Fervor, and today we're going to be taking a look at Koei Tecmo's Dynasty Warriors Origins to answer the very simple question, is it worth your time? Let's begin. Now, before we dive into some of the details of Dynasty Warriors Origins, I want to answer one of the most important questions, or one of the things that come up quite a bit is kind of two parts. But first, I see a lot of players are under the impression that with the change in direction in Dynasty Warriors Origins, with the player being a single player and not controlling multiple players, that it takes away from the overall gameplay, and to some extent makes it so the character feels very similar to other generals and things of the sort. And I want to be the first to say that I do not believe this is actually the case when you actually take a look at the game. Now, personally for me, jumping into Dynasty Warriors Origins, I was a little bit concerned that that may have been the case. The one thing I remember when I played Dynasty Warriors, I believe it was like 7, a lot of the characters that you swap to didn't feel very unique in their own way. Yeah, they had their own like dedicated moveset, but in a lot of cases the other generals that you face off against kind of was a one-for-one copy, and this is probably where a lot of the players felt like whenever you have a sword, for example, you would have very similar moves to someone else that had a sword, and there wasn't many customization options, and I don't think that's the case. Now, for clarity, I will be going over the customization so you guys can have a better understanding of it. The thing is, though, you are not going to have a lot of characters to swap in between. You do have the ability to swap in between like your companions of things like that. But while you're not being able to swap between multiple characters and you're playing your own individual character, in my personal playtime, it felt more of a more in-depth customization for the individual character rather than you going to play these essentially pre-made characters that, in my opinion, didn't bring a lot of value to the overall gameplay, in my opinion. Yeah, there was a lot of quantity of characters, but it wasn't a lot of substance to those characters, and I think this change in direction actually made it feel significantly more unique. Now, we're gonna go look at the character customization so I can actually show you what I mean, because that's more important than just saying, hey, yeah, it feels different. But yeah, let's go take a look at it right now. So now we're on the character customization screen, and as you can probably see, I'm level 24. And let's go over the actual individual characters part so you can have an understanding of why your character feels so much more unique and you have so much more customization. So, of course, you're going to have your main character. This guy can't be changed in any way, shape, or form. I will say, though, in the story, he does seem really cool. Like, he's always ready to fight, ready to defend. He may look like a dweeb a little bit, but I actually think he's really cool. And especially when you have his hat thing on. I think it's really swag. Remind me of like that Mortal Kombat character. I forget his name a little bit, but with the razor hat. But it's kind of cool. Anyway, let's go over the weapons. So as you can probably tell, there's a plethora of weapons that you can swap between. Each of these individual weapons are unique in their own way, as they have their own individual affixes. Currently, what I'm using right now is a general sword. I just generally like the sword right now. But the sword is a really cool weapon, but you could probably see like weapons like this one that I haven't upgraded to is plus 12. They have their own individual grades and they have their own individual affixes, and these will tailor your build in their own special way. So like if I was to swing with this weapon while facing off against a general and they shoot their archers at me, this will repel the attack. This will have more strong attack damage. I get more nectar drop, like water drop, and then this will give me better windows for my parries. So yeah, this is a little RNG in nature, but these actually contribute to making your character feel a little bit different. When it comes to the gems, for example, each of these gems have their own uniqueness. Let's say, for example, I wanted to go for a Giga range build. I can really put a lot of effort into Oblivion gem, maybe get a spear with really good reach, and I just attack enemies before they can even hit me. Or let's say I'm still using the spear and I want to get an Ascendance gem, and I have a 40% chance almost to passively block without me having to block. Like, you can become a defensive juggernaut, or you play the way I play right now, where my parries, because I put a lot of effort into parrying, deals increased damage, so I become a parry god. This contributes to your character feeling a little bit more unique. There's more to it. For example, as I said, I use the general sword as my primary weapon. Each individual weapon has their own art. As you can see here, you have access to, I believe, about 20 arts for this individual weapon, and obviously you can choose between whatever you want. this will contribute to not having you feel like every general is the same. I can safely say I've not felt like a single general felt anything like me. There's accessories. Each of these accessories will contribute to different type of benefits. Restore health to allies if you want to be like a commander on the battlefield. You want to capture things better. You want to just make you stronger in general. Your bun's more effective. Your defense more effective. Just different kind of playstyles that contribute to your character feeling different. You have your horse. Each horse has their own like different stat buffs. That's not that unique, but they have their own different stat buffs, different speeds. Going over the ranks. Ranks is going to be something that you get to each individual weapon that you rank up. They're not only going to give you like passive skills, but they're going to give you ranking points. So as you can see here, my spear is level 5, gauntlets level 5, wills, all that different stuff is level like kind of 4, 3, whatever. Haven't gotten the last 2 weapons yet, but I'm getting them. I haven't used these last 4 weapons here. I think your companion specifically, whenever you have your companion out to have these weapons, will actually contribute to your leveling up. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But as you can see here, this is gonna again add more to the individual character. So let's say you're just using a sword a lot, your sword actually becomes like you become a master of using just different sword moves. Now these ranks are actually important themselves too, because ranks contribute to this tree here. And as you can probably tell here looking at this tree, you have pretty insane amounts of customization on the different things that you can pick up. You can see here I still have 2 more whole ranks that I haven't gotten yet, and these ranks will eventually give me different stats, skills, and effects. There's basic things like, you know, giving me my health boost, which is, you know, whatever. And then there's skills like this where I could get Dispersion Arrow, which I can use on any weapon type that I have, again furthering the customization of the weapon that you use. You can have things like extreme Musou attacks, so you can like lean into that way more heavier, and you partner that with other gems and different things like that, and you'll end up having this like character that's super good and specialized at doing, you know, the Musou attacks, or specialized at parrying, or a defensive juggernaut, or things like that. You even have your squads that can have their own individual like play style as well. So that idea that your character is like one-dimensional, that's not the case. If you properly build your character, you can see significant changes in how your character performs. I can jump on and play a general sword and be this parry god, or I can jump on and play a completely different weapon and just be someone that can just super clear areas and just function as someone who just clear hordes of enemies. And that's not something that I felt like I could ever do in a Dynasty Warrior game, and that's something that's really unique. Yeah, in older Dynasty Warriors, I can play these pre-made characters that maybe felt kind of different, but not really that different from other generals that have weapons of the same type. Or you can play Dynasty Warriors Origin, where the direction has gone from, you still have these massive, huge wars, but you actually able to build a character that feels very unique and different from any other general. And I can say, in my, I believe 40 plus hours I've played thus far, even though I'm using a very common weapon like a sword, I've yet to see a general that has ever played or has skills just like me. So that whole idea that, you know, it's not very unique or you're going to have the same exact skills, that's just simply not the case. I'm not trying to dwell on this specific subject too much, but I did want to address this because, again, I know that a lot of players really was concerned about this, and so I really wanted to, you know, lay this out very early so you guys understand exactly, you know, how the game actually feels. One quick thing I did want to add to this is because I did watch the Night Owl's video where he talked about Dynasty Warriors Origins, and I did want to clear something up that he did say in the video that was incorrect. The game is not a Souls-like game. I think I said this in the previous video where I talked about Dynasty Warriors Origins. This game is not a Souls-like game. It does not have Souls-like elements. Being able to parry and dodge attacks are things and features that's been in games long before the Souls-like series really took off, and these are elements that are actively in the game. Bonfires do not exist. Estaflasks do not exist. You have like heals and things like that, normal consumables that again has been in games for ages, but just for clarity for players jumping in, I would say the game is closer to a Neo than it ever would be something like a active like Dark Souls game. So want to make sure that you guys know that, because that's super important, because I don't want that misinformation spreading. There's a lot of journalists who's going to throw that away like around. They love saying this is Elden Ring meets this game because it's a buzzword. That's not what the game is. Please take that with a grain of salt, because these journalists be trolling. With that out of the way, let's talk about some of the overworld elements, and this is going to be a mechanic that you like encounter very early that I wanted to talk about. And in the overworld, you actually have access to exploring a pretty cool map. You'll start off pretty much where I'm standing now, and you'll run across different kind of elements in the world that's really cool. For example, you will run into battles like these. These are different kind of like mini battles that happen along the province that you can partake in. Down there at the bottom right, and I'll probably zoom it whenever I'm editing this, you will be able to influence the individual provinces that you're a part of whenever you like deal with bandits or deal with whatever's going on with these things. This will contribute to giving you like type of gold. It will give you experience, and again, it will contribute to making your province like more safer and people more likely to give you things. As you continue to explore and do more things, you'll notice there's like major towns and cities. Each individual city will have not only a combination of weapons and armors that you can buy and sell, potions and things that you can use to actively buff yourself, as well as weapon arts that you can buy and find around the world that will again contribute to customization of your character. As you can see here, I already bought all the arts, but there's going to be a lot of different arts with a lot of different skills that you want to unlock, and these will unlock as you progress through the story. Over here you have different waypoints. This is going to give you the ability to travel all across the land. We're not going to do this right now, but I'm just going to explore the land so you have a better idea of what's going on here. And there's open world elements like finding these little pyrozine. We're going to have a video over on the channel in the next day or so going over how to do that efficiently and make your gems go a long way. There's different and I know I talked about these like white events here. I'll have it playing on the screen now, but there's like yellow versions, and these are difficulty that are a little bit above those like white ones, because the white ones are like you just kind of go in, you kind of deal with bandits, or you deal with like outraids and things like that. And then there's like the yellow versions that also contribute to giving you really cool like accessories and things like that, and they're like not necessarily like the hardest type of content, but they're not the easiest, right? So there's like a medium, and then there's these like major battles that you can see here on the map that contributes to the story and the progression of the story, and these battles will be significantly harder compared to the other two. Now, one of the concerns that a lot of players had was the tempo of the game was a little high in the demo, and I will say the demo puts you in a place that is, I actually just finished the demo quest not long ago, and I'm like in chapter 3 basically, so it was like right before chapter 3 started, and so the tempo of that battle was a little bit higher than the vast majority. And the game isn't gonna just throw you in battles with high pressure. The thing with Dynasty Warriors, and I don't recall how the tempo was because I was a kid back when I played my like last Dynasty Warriors, but it didn't feel that hard to play. Now, in Dynasty Warriors Origins, a lot of times it depends on the battle, right? There was 2 battles in my opinion that felt overwhelming. I'll show you like examples of it, because Dynasty Warriors Origins wanted to take the game in a direction that really like highlighted those huge battles and those huge wars. And when you have thousands, literally thousands of enemies on the screen that you're fighting with, tons of generals, like sometimes you'll see like 30 generals on the battlefield, like they can be tough. So I do know some players are a little concerned about it. Like there will be fights that are tough, and this kind of makes sense because like when it comes to like warring situations, like not every battle is going to be easy. Again, there's plenty of battles that are easy, there's plenty of battles that are kind of like medium, and there are a few battles where they're actually pretty tough, where it's like, oh, we're losing, we're in this desperate situation, and to me that actually contributes to the story feeling significantly more impactful. So I want to cover that because that was the other thing I see a lot of players were a little concerned about. Yeah, the tempo can be a little high in like, I say 2 missions that were actually kind of tough, and then the rest are like, pretty chill. You can do whatever you want. Ultimately, like if you can tailor your build well and you kind of play pretty okay, I think most of the story content is actually pretty simple, but you can have those challenging moments, and I think that actually kind of makes the game feel fun, more invested, and it kind of makes you be like, whew, that was really cool. While we're talking about the story, I did want to talk about some of the things you see on screen now, and as you can see in the top left there, it says Tao Tao, Sun Jian Forces, and Liu Bei. So currently what's happening right now is, and this is not spoilery or anything, this is something that was already said before the launch of this game, at some point in Dynasty Warriors, your choices are going to matter, and that's like where I'm at now, where Again, I don't want to break down the story element so you know what's happening, but essentially at some point in the story, you're going to have to choose who you side with, and it's going to dictate how the story goes. And that is something I feel that's unique to Dynasty Warriors, at least from when I last played a Dynasty Warrior game, where you as the player had actual control of how the story goes. And this is actually contributing to why it made more sense for you to play one character, because you get to experience the story as someone who fought alongside all these individual commanders who are, you know, you'll have to make a decision on who essentially rises to power. And so like being a individual character made a lot more sense, because you yourself gets to interact with them and, you know, experience the story in a whole lot of different ways. Now, I did want to quickly show something. I'm gonna give you a quick warning leading right now. It's gonna be a 10-second warning, and I'm gonna timestamp this specifically that this is a warning. I'm gonna just show you some of the story, like quantity of the story elements in the game. So here's your 10-second warning. Don't, you know, 10 seconds. Look away, skip ahead to the next timestamp if you don't want to see this part. But I wanted to show you the story now. Your 10 seconds is up. So let's go to the end. And after a while, after you get to the end, this isn't necessarily the story stuff, but as you do different letters will contribute to giving you progression on the story. And sometimes when you do things in the open world that we talked about, they'll actually give you like different like items and things like that to kind of help you out. This is where you create your gems. Again, we have a video on the channel where you can kind of like get an idea of how to create gems and kind of use them effectively, and like get more out of your gems. And then looking at the story, and here's where the spoiler come in. There's quite a bit of story. This is just chapter 1. This is chapter 2. As you can see, quite a bit. And then chapter 3, this is where we are. Some of this is cutscenes. Some of this is interaction with different key people in the story. Some of this is actual battles and like side battles and things like that. There's a lot here. Like if you are invested in the story, there's a lot here. As you can see here, looking at the percent that I have complete, I'm only 23% completed. This game is pretty damn bulky considering my hour investments into this. Like it's a lot, you know. And so in my opinion, the game has so much like good story to it. I'm not a story person. Like I'm not gonna try to pretend like I care about story in games. If you're a regular watcher of the channel, you know I don't give a damn about the story. My patience lasts for like the first hour of hype, and then I just skip every cutscene. And that's kind of how it went here too. But the story, if you're a Dynasty Warrior fan and you're interested in like actively writing the story and seeing what each character brings, because there's a lot of voice acted like, you know, content in the game. Is it the best voice acting? No. It's a Dynasty Warrior games, you know, you're not gonna get like Baldur's Gate level voice acting, but it'll do. It's a Dynasty Warrior game, and everything is voice acted, which is kind of cool. Moving back into the overworld, I just wanted to show you an example of some of the other stuff that you should come to expect. As I told you, there's like different companions that you'll meet up with. And for example, this guy here, I'm not gonna even say his name because I always butcher these kind of names. These will give you like different benefits to the character, where you can like do, you know, build a relationship with the different companions, and then they'll like give you experience and things like that. So, you know, there's a little bit of like, not collection, but a little bit of like investment in the characters to make them better. There is like collectible stuff on the world called like old coins. It'll actually give you access to different kind of like benefits, different accessories, currencies that you can earn, some of the pyrozine or whatever it's called. And even like once you get to full collection, you'll get the War God sash. Like there's actually nice things that you get for playing the game and like collecting, which is actually refreshing, because there's actively never many games that actually give you collection that gives you power. So that's really something good for collectors. So what I'm trying to get at when it comes to Dynasty Warriors Origins, personally, do I feel like Dynasty Warrior Origins is a solid game? So far, I've gotten pretty solid amount of hours. There's a good amount of customization to the game. The battles feel actually pretty epic. It feels like a Dynasty Warriors game. And rather than focusing on making pre-made characters, they actually gave the player the ability to make something of their own. Make something unique, something cool, and something fun. And for me as a player who really enjoy making builds and really making a character feel unique and different, Dynasty Warrior Origins actually scratched that itch. Is it like Dynasty Warriors back when I was a kid? No. I miss the couch co-op, I miss playing with my friends, things like of the sort. And they did say in future titles they will add that kind of stuff. But the direction that the game is going, where there's way more substance to the game, way more substance to the character customization and things like that, personally, I'm willing to say, hey, you know what? Dynasty Warrior Origins, you know, we're not going to have the ability to play multiplayer or play with friends. But if we can add this into the next game where your characters can be really customizable, the wars can feel significantly more like impactful and fun, then I'm willing to say, hey, you know what? We won't have it this game, but in the next game added in with all these really cool elements that's making Dynasty Warrior Origins, in my opinion, feel like a worthwhile buy. With that said, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hopefully you guys like my honest review of Dynasty Warriors Origin. I am, again, a longtime player, fan of the series, and, you know, being able to jump in and actually play a little bit early was really, really damn cool. Huge shout out to Koei Tecmo for giving me the opportunity to jump in early and jump in and play it. And yeah, if you guys want to see more content on Dynasty Warriors Origin, of course, I'll be having guides and stuff on the channel. You'll probably see one in a couple of hours coming out to kind of help you out for my early access players. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. Don't forget to leave me a like as well as subscribe to the channel for more Dynasty Warriors content as well as variety games on the channel. And just like that, Warriors, I'll see you in the next video very soon.